welcome back to the other part of the video. And the first part of the video we spoke about how that it is important for a man to know his purpose, to know why God has created him. We emphasizing the fact that a man's biggest mountain is his ignorance. When you don't know why you are here, then you will not fully come into the reality of what God has created you to be. And we also spoke about why you need to know your creator, because he's the one that created you and he's the one that can tell you how to even go about your purpose. It's from him that you can discover your purpose. And I'm sure that we learned one or two things from that video as much as I did as well. So in this part of the video we're going to be talking about consecrations, because as a matter of fact, each and every one of us have certain consecrations to our purpose. You don't just live life like every other person. As a person, if God has given you, this is what you're meant to be, this is who you're meant to be, this is how to live your life, then there are certain consecrations that you need to have as to fully coming into the reality of that person which God has created you to be. There are things that you are not meant to do as a person, as a believer, in that sense now. So I guess you're going to be speaking one or two things about how you can go about it. All right, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So as regards that, well, the matter of consecration is simply put is, someone setting himself apart into certain disciplinary measures, setting himself apart into certain disciplinary measures in obedience to God, so that he can be fit to carry out an assignment. Yes. So before I talk about the consecrations, I would love to talk about the identity. So for instance, let's get this illustration. A king, so that it can perform his roles and his duties, his purpose as a king, there are certain things he can do and there are certain things he cannot do. Anybody in the royal family, so as to be able to exercise the authority that has been conferred on them, there are certain things that they will have not to do, and there are certain things that they will have to do. And so in that same sense of it, we realize that the things that we need to do and the things we need not to do, so as to fulfill purpose, is solely dependent on our identity.
True.
Yes, like I was saying, there's a kind of person that can carry out an assignment. There's a kind of person that can carry out the purpose. And have you met the requirements to be that kind of person? Now, if you have met the requirements to be that kind of person, then you will do the things needed to carry out the assignment with respect to your identity. So, do you know who you are? That's the first question. Before you even ask the question of purpose, do you know who you are? Now, once you know who you are, you know the person God has called you to be. Then there are certain things the Lord will now begin to ask you to do, and certain things He will ask you not to do, so as to be able to be fit to carry out this assignment. And I'll be speaking both from the natural sense and also the spirituals. Starting from the spirituals now, for instance, when God called Moses and Aaron to himself, there were certain instructions He gave them.
Yes.
Certain instructions He gave them so that they would be able to carry out the assignment.
Into that assignment.
When God called Abraham to himself, there were certain instructions He gave him. Yes. And so that's the way it always works out. You see, one of the reasons why those instructions are being given is to confirm your faithfulness and your fidelity to the call of purpose. To know how faithful you are and you will be to the one who has called you. Because if you show no sense of faithfulness to the person who has called you, then He will not deem you fit to be able to carry out the assignment. So one of the reasons for consecration is to confirm the fidelity and the faithfulness of your call. That's one reason. Another reason is to, for now, once God has confirmed your faithfulness and fidelity and sees that now this man is faithful, and when in turn in response to your faithfulness, be faithful to His words to you and give you grace to carry out the assignment. I heard of the story of this man, Dr. Cosmas Maduka. Is a very, very, a billionaire, one of the billionaires in Nigeria. And he was sharing his story, and one day he shared one of his consecrations and said one of the things that he does is that every Wednesday he does not receive any visitor, but he spends the day praying. fasting. Now, if you see someone like that and you say, consecrations are the secrets to the prosperity of the man. You are seeing the man doing great outside is because that there are certain consecrations, there are certain devotions he has unto the Lord, who is his source. One of the things that consecration proves is that I acknowledge that I am not self-sufficient. I am dependent on God. So if you are dependent on your Creator, you will prosper in purpose. And so, you see, in the matters of consecration, as God has called you, He will then begin to tell you, these and these and these and these are the things you will need to do. These and these and these and these are the things you will need not to do, so as to be fit for this assignment and to be considered worthy in the real time and real sense to carry it out. But then also, as regards the general purpose of the man as believers, as regards preaching the gospel, definitely there are certain things that are generic for every believer. Yes, certain things are generic for every believer. Present your body as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world. All those kinds of things that Scripture tells us to abstain from. Those things are our devotions, our consecrations to God. If we can do them, then we are considered fit to carry out purpose and assignment. Because fulfilling purpose is not just in the knowledge of purpose, it's also in the ability
to take through the process, the consecrations, everything that the process in its essence that God has told you. It's one thing for you to even know that okay, this is what I'm meant to be. But then one way or the other, you did not even ask your Creator that okay, the consecrations as to fulfilling this, the consecrations as to perfectly embodying what you would have me be. I think it's a very, very important part of purpose that we all need to take cognizance of. And if you still feel like, okay, I don't know, I don't think so, they are even laid down generic perspective in the scriptures as Christians that we don't even, they are not negotiable, actually. They are not negotiable for a believer. So, one thing I just know is that you cannot know your purpose without knowing God. So when you start, it needs to tell you that okay, this is what you're meant to do, this is what you're not meant to do, as to fit in to this reason why I have created you. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it, and I know that everyone is learning one or two things, because even me, I've learned a lot from this session, and I know that God is helping each and every one of us to learn more. Alright, so thank you very much, sir. So I just want to say that maybe someone might still feel like, okay, I don't know, why do I even need to find this purpose? Why is it everybody's talking about purpose? Maybe I can just come to this world and just be doing fine and just be alive and all, and I'll just keep the commandments, as some people, even hear people say it, even as much as I'm not going against the 10 commandments. I feel like there is more to your life than the 10 commandments. You really need to find God, find purpose. So, I'll just give us one or two insight about that.
Why to find purpose? Yes. There's a common saying that if purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Yes. One of the things that purpose does to a man, the knowledge of purpose does to a man, that it gives you focus, it gives you aim, it gives you a goal, it makes you know where you are going to, it makes you know where you are running to, it makes you know how you should run, it makes you know who you should run with. There's a common saying by my dad. He says that if you don't know the way, any way will be a way, even though it's leading to destruction. Yes. And so, one of the reasons why you need to know purpose is to live a fulfilling life. That's the sincere truth. When you see a man who is without purpose, who is without a goal, who is without a vision, but is just living life the way it's coming to him. See, life will not always bring good. Life will not always bring things that are easy. Even the rich people, in their disciplining and the training of their children, they give them target visions and goals. What are they trying to do? To shape your mind to the fact that there is a need for the cognitive knowledge of purpose. And when we are saying these things, we are always talking about the matters of the mind, because the world and everything around us they were once ideas. They were conceptualized before they became reality. And there's something I always love to say. One man said something, said from consciousness to obedience to result. So the consciousness has to do with the knowledge of the purpose, you know it. The obedience has to do with the consecrations to it, obeying the Creator, so that and then you are seeing the result of the things that you are conscious of. And so, one of the reasons why you need to be conscious of purpose, why you need to know purpose and find purpose, is to live a fulfilled life. What will be said of you after you leave? That's the sincere truth. You might begin to ask yourself, what will be said of you after you leave? What will be said of you while you are alive, while you are dead? What will be your testimony when you stand before God? What will be your testimony when you talk with your children? What will you hand over to them? What are the things that you will give unto them as templates to run life when you don't have any at all? Yes. And so every man will always have that nudge in himself for why he's existing.
Yes.
You can try to want to deny it. You can try to want to deflect it and probably pay attention to something else. But you cannot, you can't shy away from it. That's the word. You can't shy away from the fact that there is that nudge in you to know why you are existing. Because that is the bedrock and the hallmark for a fulfilled life. Yes, that's the bedrock and the hallmark for a fulfilled life. The knowledge of purpose. And to further get this done, I would just advise anyone watching this and you have questions as regards this, try to get some books. There's the book by Purpose Driven Life by Warren. It will really, really help you. And tend to learn from the experiences of men. Tend to learn from the challenges of men. You will see the need for a purpose. You will see the need to know purpose. You will see the need to know why you should know purpose. But then, the basic reason for purpose is to live a fulfilled life. Every man desires to live a fulfilled life. Every man. There is no one that wants to live a life that will not be reckoned with both in time and eternity. No one wants to have that kind of life.
Yes, everyone wants to be known for one thing or the other. And the only way you can live that fulfilled life is by getting to know your purpose. Just as he has said that you need to know why you need to know purpose. When you know the reason that, okay, this is a very, very important aspect of my life, the drive will just come, the zeal will come. You will just want to know why, because you know that it is important for you to know the reason why you are here. Thank you so much for that. I really learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone seeing this video actually have one or two things to learn. And to round up everything, I just want to say that even in the physical, you can as well see that, okay, maybe you still feel like, okay, you're not getting enough questions, you're not getting enough answers. Like, normally there are natural habits that you can't stand. There are things like that. There are cases whereby, okay, you feel like, okay, this thing, I don't just like the sight. I don't like when I see things like this. Of the whole essence of what we've been talking about is just that it is important for you to find purpose, because you have to live a fulfilled life, and you cannot do that without your Creator. And as much as you journey with Him, it's not something that you can get to know at once. He begins to reveal to you step by step, day after day, time after time, in fact, seasons after season. There are some that you need to know now, there's some that you need to know in the next 5 years, there's some that you need to know in the older age of your life. But then you can't get to know all these things if you are disconnected from your source, which is your Creator. So I just want to say that I trust that God Himself is going to reveal purpose to each and every one of us, as much as we live for Him, as much as we constantly keep our relationship with Him, and we are not disconnected from our source, which is God. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to do this with us. We really appreciate you. It's an honor. It's really an honor to have you here. Thank you very much, sir. Alright, thank you all for seeing this video today, and see you in the next video. God bless you.